What's going on, everybody? It's Belladonna Joe, aka just call me Joe. Alright, so I'm gonna jump right into this one. I know I'm gonna get a lot of heat for this, probably because, you know, it's the internet. Okay, so the first time that I don't know, sex work, whatever you want to call it. But that's what I like to call it. I don't like to call it anything else. I think that's just not right. But, okay, so, oh my God. This was 2009. Yeah, 2009. I was locked up for a year. I get out, and, you know, you make some friends in there. But, let me tell you, when you make some friends in there, they're not the same when you get out. Like, let me tell you about a girl named Cracky Jackie. They used to call her Cracky Jackie. And now I knew why they called her that. Anyways, you know, when I got out, I did a year. So I was happy as hell. You know, I didn't really have that many friends, I guess. I mean, I had some bad people, but okay, so I got out. Oh man. I connected with a couple girls I was locked up with. And one of the girls was like, hey, do you know any Johns? And I'm thinking in my head, like, man, I don't know anybody named John. Like, no, I really don't. She was talking about, do you know any Johns? Like, Johns. And, you know, I'm so innocent. I'm like, I don't think I know anybody named John. I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. You know, but little innocent on me, when you're in that life, you learn really goddamn fast. You learn fast. Very fast. So, fast forward to a couple months later, you know, I'm out, and I start using heroin again, and let's see, I go to a girl's house, because obviously, when you get out, you know, you have some money, but what are you gonna do? I don't have a job, and let me see, you know, and the one girl that I was locked up with, I'm gonna call her Jen. Well, wait a minute, that was her name. What am I talking about? Okay, so that was her name. So Jen. All right, but we called her Red. So I was locked up. I get out, and a couple months later, you know, I'm hanging out with her, and she's a daughter. At that time, she was like 3 years old, and I'm like, damn, we don't have any money. Like, what the fuck are we gonna do? And she's like, man, I got a trick or whatever, or a guy that like wants 2 girls. And I was like, you know, my face was like that. I was like, because all the horror stories you hear about, which are true, you know, like when you're going in somebody's car or whatever you're doing, that stuff is true. And of what happens, that's the danger. So she's like, oh, I got a guy, you know, he'll pay us like $100 for an hour, and, you know, do you want to come or what? And I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna come. Yeah, crowd me in. So we go in my car, and I drive us to the guy's house, and, you know, I'm just like dancing for him, and she's doing whatever, and yeah, you can imagine what else. So that was my first time doing that. You know, and when I was hanging out with Jen, like, she had all the guys. She had, let me see, like, she had a dentist, she had an airport worker, she had a lot of guys. Some of these guys are cuckoo in the head, man, like, crazy. There was another guy, he was a real estate developer, contractor, whatever, something like that. But it made me, when I went to that date with her, it made me look at guys differently. When I started doing that with her, and I'm not talking about, I never stood, just to make things clear, I never stood on a corner. I never did that. I never stood on the corner. I never jumped in and out of cars like that. I never did that. The guy that I ended up seeing with her, ended up to be a guy that I would see many years afterwards too. So many years afterwards, yeah. And that's how I like kept doing that. But then, you know, to make money, I eventually got a job waitressing. But there was a girl that I was locked up with that she was in there, a white girl. She was in there for place of prostitution and like running a prostitution house. And she was big time. Like she did not use drugs. She was just all about selling pussy. So, you know, I was about to start a job, and I'm like, damn, I need to make some money. Like, you know, she was like, girl, like, why don't I get this hotel like downtown, and like I'll have the guys come or whatever, and then we'll see how it goes. Like, then I can take you to Vegas, because she grew up in Vegas too. So I never grew up in Vegas, but you know, she was in Vegas and Milwaukee, so she knew both. So I go to this hotel. Before I go to the hotel, what the hell do you think I'm gonna do? Hell yeah, I got some stuff, and I didn't know it was gonna be really strong, so I did some. Then, you know, me and this girl in the car together, and I throw up, and she takes me to this hotel, beautiful hotel, and yeah, so she has like a guy come, guy leave. It was like 3 guys, and then after the 3rd one, I threw up again. I was like, she's like, are you pregnant? I'm like, no. And I'm just thinking like, damn, I'm not gonna do this shit. Fuck this. I'm not doing this. So she drove me home. The next day I got a job waitressing, you know. But while I was waitressing, you already know that when you're using, like, there's never enough money in this world. There's never enough money when you're using, like, never. I was not using coke at that time, but you know, when you use, you cannot consistently, there's no way to consistently sparingly use, you know. I tried my damnedest hardest ever to try to control it and be like, okay, even like write it down and be like, okay, I did, you know, 2 chicken wings at 5:30. I did 1 chicken wing at 9:30, because you can't control it, because you don't know what the people put in it. You don't know the quality of the stuff. Like, there's no way to do that. Even if you buy 10 things, there's no way to, after the 10 of them, there's no way to tell if the next batch you get are gonna be, you know, okay. There's no way. The consistency, there's no way. So it was just messed up. And as I was